Hey everybody, welcome to the Shrimp City Report. My name's Devin.
I'm DJ.
I'm Jonathan.
And who do we have here today with us, DJ and Jonathan?
We say it like a let's
Are
do a
we
cheesy
supposed to
thing.
sing together?
Don Merckle.
It's me. It's Don Merckle.
Yeah, man. I'm excited.
Local singer-songwriter, well, just local musician and bon vivant, Don Merckle.
Nice.
So. All right, Donald, thanks for coming by.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I guess the first question we always go into, so Donald's a Merckle.
Donald's a Merckle.
Don's got a
Don's-
Merkin.
By the way, do you go by Don or Donald?
I mean, either was fine, but most people just call me Don these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Don's a musician. Damn it.
And a magician.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with me today.
I brought my
You only had one shot of rum.
bunny in my hat.
Oh man.
All right, where are you from, Don? Because we were having the discussion earlier. Everybody knows you a lot from the Charleston scene.
Every question is going to be full of contradictions. The answers will be full of contradictions, unfortunately. I'm from all over, really. I grew up in Columbia, though. That's the easiest way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
From, I guess, maybe grade school, certainly high school on. I grew up there. And that's where I started playing music, too, was in Columbia. So that's kind of where I cut my teeth. But technically, I'm from West Virginia.
Oh, I can hear it.
Can you?
No, not in your voice, but like definitely in like Lincoln Ray a little bit. I would listen, went back and listen to some of that, and like, oh my, like North Carolina, West Virginia.
Yeah, I definitely have some of that. So other people have said that as well, and I don't really identify as West Virginia too much because I was just born there. I didn't really live there. But other people have kind of put that together as well, which is maybe it's just in the blood or something. I don't know how that works.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Of course.
All right, so that that album has a lot of North Carolina references to it, and I made the joke, Lincoln Ray, is that a reference to Link Ray, and Devin Senior informed me that he's in fact from North Carolina. Was that an on purpose little reference? I know there's no really surf in that, but it's like
No,
Ray.
it's not, and I just happened to play in I think is it Dunn, North Carolina? I think is where he's from.
Yeah, that's where my family is from, around there.
I
Yeah.
played at a place called Bird's Nest Listening Room fairly recently. It's a really awesome place, and I did not know that's where he's from. I just happened to run into a mural of him. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, no, my grandfather's name is Lincoln Ray,
Oh.
and that entire album is about his life, his exploits in the Korean War, and my grandmother too.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And
wow.
what happened to him and when he came back and the family and how he raised his family after he came back from the Korean War. But you're not everybody thinks I'm talking about Link Ray for some reason.
Let's circle back on that because I have some questions about the way the chronology of the songs is on that. But let's get back to, so Columbia was your formative time.
Yep.
Started playing music. What instruments? Just start with guitar? I mean,
Yeah, well, pretty much. I came into it kind of late. I didn't start playing guitar till about 21 or so, and I just picked it up, and it started playing. A friend of mine had knew a couple chords, and he showed them to me, and then that was it. And I just learned the rest on my own. It was just something I took to immediately, and so which is one of the reasons why I felt like I got to keep doing this.
oh yeah,
You
for
know.
sure.
But no, I mostly just play guitar. I mean, I still play guitar. I play a little bit of piano and whatnot now, but I usually just stick to guitar and I let other people play the fancy stuff.
Okay. Also, folks, this episode is brought to us by 10 to 1 Caribbean Rum and Caribbean Dark Rum. I want to tell our friend Evan with the company, thanks for hooking us up. We're enjoying some of it tonight, and it's quite tasty. We'll have pictures on the site today, or the site tonight, with some of those bottles, so you can see where to get it. We'll also be sharing the website, so you can see where to get it. So, all right, Deb, you got any questions?
Yeah. So you played music. What age? You said you were messing around with the guitar a lot. When did you actually pick up the guitar?
I was 21 years old.
Oh, yeah?
I did touch him. Well,
Wow.
technically, I played I tell you, it's very convoluted. But I played saxophone a little bit in grade school for about 2 years. But in order to keep playing saxophone where I was going to school, I had to like eat with like the higher up grades because the schedule was weird, and so I didn't want to do that anymore. So I just quit playing saxophone and quit the band actually.
Okay.
And that was the only instrument experience I had up until I picked up a guitar around 21.
So what drew you to guitar then?
A friend of mine,
Yeah.
a good friend of mine, he was learning to play. He's about the same age as me, and he just had a guitar. And I think I was crashing on his couch or something, just sort of couch surfing. And I saw him playing guitar, and he just learned a couple of chords. That was really cool. My youngest brother, he had a guitar. I knew he had a guitar in his room that I'm quite certain he stole. And it didn't have any strings on it, so I just went and stole it from him because I didn't think he'd miss it, and he hadn't played with it. And then I got strings on it, and I just learned those 2 chords that my friend showed me, and then from there I just find another chord to learn, find another chord to learn, find another chord to learn, and just kept going. I got really obsessed with it, and that's sort of how I knew that was something I kind of wanted to keep doing.
Did you start on an acoustic? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as soon as you started picking up a guitar, were you like, I need to join a band, or were you like, I'm going to just play this out some?
I need to start writing songs. I immediately started writing songs.
Okay, yeah.
So that actually, the guitar came first, not the poetry.
Yeah.
You weren't really writing
Sure.
for that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. But what does that mean? Does that mean I just needed some sort of avenue? Like I was always there. I'm sure it was always there. I mean, writing, especially when at that age, that time in my life, there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I guess it didn't occur to me until later that perhaps this was just the way I learned to deal with it and learned to handle it, learned to talk about it, or whatever. How we look at it. But it was initially, and it's kind of cliche these days, it was initially a little bit of a therapeutic kind of thing because, like I said, I immediately started writing songs.
Did you do any
Terrible songs.
Did you do any other creative arts before picking up saxophone or guitar? Did you do any art, performing, anything?
A little performing, like I said, in grade school and whatnot, and plays and whatnot. But I was an artist. Like I drew pictures and paintings a little bit. I had some talent with that. But then I started playing sports and I stopped doing all that stuff. So I was a baseball player and a football player in high school and a little bit in college. So yeah, when I found sports, I kind of dropped a lot of the art stuff that I was doing until I got out of high school.
All right, that's not fair. You can't be good at both.
Hey.
All right, man.
Yeah, man.
Come on.
Hey, man.
Listen to the rest of us.
So what was your poison then back then? What was like your music genre you were trying to work with when you first picked up guitar?
So like the first songs that I learned to play on my own were like Neil Young songs. I was really into Neil Young, Bob Dylan. Obviously, I was drawn towards the songwriter types. So yeah, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, Tom Waits, Lou Reed. Lou Reed was a big one. A friend of mine introduced me to the Velvet Underground at that time.
Oh yeah.
And that's when I discovered Velvet Underground. This is like the late 90s. And I got the box set and I just learned to play every single song. And I just sort of, in some way, shape, or form, if you can believe it, somehow related to the way Lou Reed was writing songs in New York City, here in Columbia, South Carolina. But somehow I connected the dots, and it just spoke to me in some way that I just wanted to keep writing songs like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's
All of us can relate.
incredible
I think.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I'm a hyper fan. So let's get back to the sports part. You played football and baseball. Where'd you go to high school?
Cardinal Newman High School.
Okay, I know Cardinal Newman. And then you transitioned into some college sports with it.
Yeah, I went to Newberry College briefly. I played a little of both.
Had they changed their name by then?
No, they were
Okay.
still the Indians. Then.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. So Cardinal Newman, were you able to, I don't know. So if you, I'm sometimes interested in folks, was it at that point in, I guess, the 90s or 2000s, was there even an allowance for you to be an artist, or Jonathan and Devin both came up at the same time. It seems like sports was all encompassing. You either chose one or the other. I mean, what do you think there was
As far
an
as the
opportunity?
arts?
Yeah, I mean, could you have been a polymath at that point? You know.
Well, I don't know. Like I didn't really know many
Yeah.
who were for sure. But sports wasn't like year round like it kind of is now. Like if you, like today, if you're a football player in high school, you probably are in some sort of program all
Right.
year round. If you're good anyway, if you're like want to go to the next level in some
Yeah.
sort. Same thing with baseball. Same thing with basketball. At that time, and it was a small school. Cardinal Newman was a small school.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know why, but it just never even occurred to me to like play an instrument or to write music. At that time, I was just focused on sports. But I didn't know anybody who did both things. But I
Yeah.
don't know that it was necessarily frowned upon.
I guess it's weird. I mean, what compels anybody to pick up anything? I mean, how about you, Devin? You're a visual artist. I mean,
Yeah.
was it just something that you found everybody else was doing it in the house and you decided to do it? Or
No, I don't think I was ever like that. I just thought it was fun, to draw whatever came to mind. And then it's funny you're talking about going one way where you do sports and nothing else. But here I am. I went to high school and art school that had no sports what to speak of.
Yeah, right.
And you were pretty much dedicated to the arts. Yeah.
How about Jonathan? You were an athlete too.
No, I didn't really. I wasn't really an athlete till college. I was kind of a late bloomer, so I was really into like the chorus and the theater and stuff like that. And then in college, suddenly you have a lot more time. I started picking up other hobbies. Wasn't exactly killing it with the ladies, so I had some time. So I got into through theater. I got into doing fight choreography. Through fight choreography, doing research got me into boxing and MMA, taekwondo, and
Is it high school?
This is college.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about
High
to say,
school, I was.
Yeah. How much time do you have?
high school did
No,
you go
no. This is a college, and what you've heard about, theater degrees being, kind of totally true, because I had time to do all that and explore all that and be in shows, and it killed me, but I could still do it.
Well, let's talk about. So, one of your first bands was Loch Ness Johnny. Your first proper band.
Yeah. In fact, I've only been in bands that I started, and
Okay.
largely I think that's because I'm an okay singer and I'm an okay guitar player. There's a dime a dozen for those guys. No one's knocking their door down to get an okay singer and an okay guitar player in their band. But I am a songwriter, and really no one's knocking my door down to get a songwriter in the band either. People just kind of do what they want to do. So I figured in order to play, I just had to start my own band, and I did. And I started Loch Ness Johnny, which is sort of a Celtic rock band. if that's-
Yeah.
That's
I
recall.
was going to ask, what made you decide to do the Irish spin on that?
Well, I met these two guys initially, Mike Capel and Phil Hurd. Phil's a fiddle player. Mike was just this character, almost like a lounge lizard guy. They're both like 20 years older than me, but they're real, played a lot of music. They're real experienced musically. And I met them at like an open mic, and we were able to harmonize together on a few songs, and we thought it was pretty fun. So we started playing together as a 3-piece, and we said, well, we should have a name, and I guess not to ramble too much, but Phil, the fiddle player, he knew all of the Irish traditional songs, all the traditional tunes. He could play them really fast too, and that was just fun music to play. So I learned to play with him, and we it's just really fun music is what it turned out to be.
Yeah.
And I've always felt that Irish music like that, or Celtic, as you're saying, kind of goes hand in hand with folk music too.
Oh, yeah.
It's very much like the same
Sure.
beats
It's
and
the roots of it.
quality. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we decided to call ourselves something, and so we decided on two names. One, we were going to call ourselves Monster Truck Girls or Loch Ness Johnny, and I can't remember where any of these names came from, but we decided on Monster Truck Girls And we played one show as Monster Truck Girls, and I think Mike's wife was like, "Dude, that's a stupid name." And we're like, "Okay, then we'll be Loch Ness Johnny."
That's good. You take critiques, you know. It's- So Loch Ness Johnny, then what came next? American Gun or?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, story. Like Loch Ness Johnny went on for a long time. Like it started off as a 3-piece, and then the other two guys who started it with me, they moved away. Well, actually, Mike moved away, and Phil stuck around. But I decided I wanted to make it a proper band, so I brought in more people. We had,
You got Kevin, Stan, Brooks, all those guys.
Yep, and so we had the proper, drums, bass, guitar, electric guitar, the whole thing, and we were able to tour a lot, playing festivals, like Irish festivals, Scottish festivals, and Irish pubs and stuff.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Awesome.
Oh man, they're everywhere. I learned this. They're everywhere, and so we got to play a lot of really cool ones. And there's this band you might be familiar with, I think Seven Nations. They were really big in the Celtic rock scene. Anyway, they were huge in that little niche.
Right.
And so we kind of would play with them a lot. We got to open up for them and kind of tour around a little bit with them. And it was a lot of fun. But at some point, I wanted to do more. And I had this whole plan of how we could, because there's festivals, Irish festivals, Scottish festivals, all across the United States. There's Irish pubs, there's Scottish pubs all across the United States, and then there's our music, I felt like we could play in a rock club, and we could play in the Irish festivals.
Yeah.
And so I had this grand plan, and I introduced it to everybody, and they were like, "No, we don't want to do that. No, we don't want to go that far. We want to do that stuff." So I was like, "All right." So I decided to go start another band, initially just to have another outlet to play music.
Oh yeah.
And that turned into American Gun.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was American Gun like? Was that straight rock or just
That was more,
proto blacksmiths or?
No, it was more drive-by truckers.
Okay.
Lucero, those were the kind of bands we were emulating. So we had two songwriters, singers, and that was what was kind of unique about it. We were I was sort of wanted to have that sort of drive-by truckers kind of two different songwriters, different singers, and I felt like that would bring in more people and have two different perspectives, and our songs would be more diverse. And it was. The first, we did 3 albums. They were really great. It was a great band, like awesome. And it was, like I said, it was more in the garage country rock, drive-by truckers, traditional
Right.
Lucero. If you're familiar with Lucero, we're big fans of Lucero. Got to play with them. That was a lot of fun. And then after about 3 albums, classic rock band issues ensued, and then implosion, and then that was that.
But that's a statement that you were able to put 3 albums out. I mean, that's a lot of work, and that's a lot of time together.
How long was that for the 3 albums?
Let's see. Don't hold me to this, but I want to say roughly around 2006 to 2010.
Okay,
Wow.
that's a pretty good clip.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So at what point did you move from, or start moving away from bands and more towards solo career?
Well, okay, so after American Gun, I had a crisis of conscience and wasn't sure I wanted to play music anymore, so I went and did some other things, but found my way back to music. And I moved here, and I started a band called Don Merckle the Blacksmiths. I'd been in several kind of real popular bands, but I feel like every time I would start a new band, I had to reintroduce myself and reprove myself, because no one knew anybody's names in the band. They just knew the name of the band.
You sure? Okay.
So I just decided, well, for now, I'm just put my name in front of the band, since I was the one who seemed to stick around the longest in these situations. Plus, I was writing all the songs and all that stuff, and I seemed to be the most motivated to book and manage and all that good stuff.
There's always one in every band, and that band always needs that.
Yeah.
Always you need that guy.
Do you, sorry to interrupt, do you like having that more control versus when it's kind of like shared work together in a band?
Well, I prefer shared work.
Yeah. when it happens.
Yeah, I didn't initially start out to be a leader of a band. Like with Loch Ness Johnny, I didn't necessarily intend to be the leader of the band. I mean, I wanted to sing, I wanted to write songs, but I didn't know anything about, booking shows or anything. But nobody else in the band wanted to do it either, and no one wanted to make a decision about what are we going to do. So I figured, well, I'll do it then. And so I just started it that way. I mean, at this point, I've been doing it so long, probably now I prefer it, but no, I didn't intend to. And I think some of those bands might have succeeded more had we had more, shared participation. But I don't know though. American Gun was kind of shared. That was kind of shared. Yeah. So I don't know. The way it is now, it's just me, but a lot of that is, money. Like I can't, a lot of guys want to get paid, and I get it, man, but I can't pay everybody. And the Blacksmiths grew to be like almost 10 pieces at one point. Wow. We had horns, we had keyboards. It was
I do remember when you added when you had keyboards and all that.
It was awesome, but I could almost never get everyone together at the same time.
Yeah.
It became a real issue. Practice.
Rock and roll polyphonic spree.
Yeah. But practice is a real issue. Learning new songs became a real issue, and not everybody in the band lived here. Some of them lived in Columbia. It was just becoming a lot, and so I was tired of arguing with everybody and trying to figure out how to practice and figure out how to give everybody new songs, and I wasn't getting a whole lot of response to anything. So I figured, well, let me just go my own way, and that way I can sort of control what I'm doing, and I can go where I need to go and do what I want to do. And if I need a band, then I can hire a band, and I do sometimes. But it's just easier for me now to just do it myself, and I like playing solo gigs too. So
yeah, cool.
And I love having a band. I love being in a band, but I'm a singer songwriter at heart, and that's what I generally like to do.
All right, so you have that sense of, I guess, control, and it sounds like you also have the identity of the band, which I think that's cool. So do you use promoters, management, booking? Do you do everything yourself? Because I was thinking about when you were talking about how Loch Ness Johnny, you got on a bunch of festivals and things like that. At that point, were folks coming after you, or were you aggressively going after them? And do folks come for you now?
Well, at the time, it was just all me going after whatever I could. But Loch Ness Johnny became kind of popular in that scene, in that Celtic rock scene. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. So at some point, people did come looking for us in those environments. Festivals would come looking for us, and different places would. But most of the time, American Gun got to a point too where people started asking for us. So, I forgot what was the last point.
I guess I'm just kind of interested in
promoters.
Promoting yourself, promoters, management trust, stuff like that.
Teach me exactly what you did. For free.
Right. Well, I still don't think I know what I'm doing. But no, I haven't used a lot of promoters or agents or managers. Mm-hmm. I haven't been able to attract one, to be honest with you. Like I tried to get a few, but again, there's money, there's I guess a certain commitment that maybe they might be looking for that I'm not sure I can do at this moment, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But right now and for the most part, it's just been me just doggedly going after things and doing the best I can.
I don't know about y'all, but if somebody said that, I would feel like they're a shyster if they're like, oh man, whatever you do is good enough that I bet people will want to see it, and all I need is 10% to show you. I'm like, man, I'm gonna end up with a timeshare and no shows.
And I'll live in a house full of doTERRA.
Let's talk about some of the records, but first we're going to take a break and have a little taste of the Caribbean white rum in a rum punch that DJ and I made earlier. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. Well, you know what? It could be infinite for you guys that are listening on the podcast. Back in a sec.
I want to go to Alaska and get away from it all. I want to go to Alaska where the trees grow tall. When I get to Alaska, I'll buy a pickup truck. And while I'm there in Alaska, I try and press my luck. But when I get to Alaska, I'll meet a local girl. We'll find ourselves in Alaska. At least we'll give it a whirl. I'll make my bones in Alaska until it swallows me whole. I'll leave my bones in Alaska and watch the world grow cold. Hail, hail, Alaska, carry me far away. Hail, hail, Alaska, give me one more day. Hail, hail, Alaska, bury me in the snow. Hail, hail, Alaska, fall down as I can go. When I get to Alaska, I'll find an old sled dog. We'll have a time in Alaska until the darkness falls. If you get to Alaska, don't come calling on me. I'll leave it be in Alaska under a hemlock tree. Hail, hail, Alaska, carry me far away. Hail, hail, Alaska, give me one more day. Hail, hail, Alaska, bury me in the snow. Hail, hail, Alaska, fall down as I can go. When I get to Alaska, I'll give it one more try. No guarantees in Alaska, even a clear blue sky. And if you get to Alaska, don't come calling on me. I'll leave my bones in Alaska under a hemlock tree. Hail, hail, Alaska, carry me far away. Hail, hail, Alaska, give me one more day. Hail, hail, Alaska, bury me in the snow. Hail, hail, Alaska, fall down as I can go. Hail, hail, Alaska, carry me far away. Hail, hail, Alaska, give me one more day. Hail, hail, Alaska, bury me in the snow. Hail, hail, Alaska, far as I can go. Hail, hail, Alaska, far as I can go. Hail, hail, Alaska, far as I can go.
So I guess the repetition of playing in bands all the time and doing stuff, and the festivals sound like super fun.
Yeah.
You know, that's what a festival is for, right? Unless it's like Undertakers, you know. But I mean, I guess there are people that are dying to get into those as well.
Oh God.
But what? So tell me about maybe some interesting gigs that you've had in any of those bands.
Well, so in the Loch Ness Johnny days, I can't remember who had the. Anyway, we were approached about playing this festival. It's called Nude Stock, I think, it's a nudist colony, had this.
Yeah.
It's well known.
Yeah. it was in like Pelion, I think, South Carolina. It's like in the woods. It's
It
Yeah.
was in Pelion, the Pelion.
I think it's Pelion. I'm not telling.
Holy
But
smokes!
Man.
it was back in the woods. Like it was like an actual community.
Near all the
Right.
pointy holly bushes and stuff like that.
And
Yeah, but gosh, can you
the
imagine?
gum trees and the chiggers.
oh, it gets better. It gets better because it was chilly.
Oh,
And I'll never forget me and Kevin. Ask Kevin if you ever talk to him. He'll tell you the story. He says it better, almost better, but it's way longer for sure. He has all that. He remembers every color
pretty hard to forget.
shirt someone was wearing. Anyway, so we pull up, and we were driving together. And we pull up, and this golf cart pulls up next to us because we didn't know where we were going. We were just trying to figure out, where is the stage? Where is the place?
Mm-hmm.
And this golf cart pulls up with this older dude and older lady, and they were both wearing sweatshirts, but nothing below the sweatshirt.
Wow.
And they pointed us towards the stage, and they were our contact, and we talked to them, and it was just like looking around.
Do you think that they were trying to ease you into it by having the sweatshirt in, or was it strictly for the cold?
I think it was
Duck
for
is
the
worse than just full nude.
I don't know. Yeah,
I feel like you're
know.
more naked if you're just wearing a shirt. Because I mean,
Yeah.
the
I
things
know.
that was thought put into it.
It was just bizarre.
I have
But
to
if it's
ask.
a little nipply out, I mean, you got to say.
All right.
I gotta ask, did the peer pressure work?
On some of us.
Okay, so
Not
you
me.
had a half nude band playing.
Well, I think I did eventually take my shirt. But see, that's the other part of the story. Like Kevin and I, we got to the stage, and our drummer was already naked. And we were like, oh man.
Yeah.
Drummers.
Yeah. I mean, he's behind a kid too. But so we looked around. We said, is there any alcohol? And they were like, no, we don't have any beer. And so it's like, all right. So then Kevin and I immediately went and bought like 2 cases of beer and
Yeah.
brought it back. And so by the end of the night, I was feeling good enough to take my shirt off anyway. But I think Kevin was naked. I can't remember who else. Somebody else was
You don't
naked.
have to incriminate.
No, I want to
anybody.
hear all
Yeah.
these
Like
names.
that.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin will tell you.
Yeah.
I promise you, he'll tell you the story. But anyway, so yeah, some of us ended up. But the funny thing about it was, I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I wasn't expecting. It's basically a retirement community.
Yeah. I've heard that, I guess.
And it was a little uncomfortable. Thus the alcohol and anyway. And
Right.
and funny enough, we played it again because we didn't get enough the first time. Only this time it was a Halloween party.
Oh wow!
How did
Wow.
nudists do Halloween?
Great question.
It just
Same thing. They were like Austin Powers from the waist up. Or, Spider-Man from the waist up. And all the ladies were fairies or butterflies or something with wings.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was very strange. And the guy who met us that day, he was a different guy, and he was our contact, and he was wearing chaps and nothing else.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh my God, there's so many.
we have fun.
puns.
I will say there's like the worst crowds I think I've ever had haven't been like they're too rowdy, you're getting on stage trying to take a mic or whatever. It's always been the cross-armed in the jacket, kind of too cool for that.
Well,
I
punk
bet that
rock,
is the
yeah.
perfect, like, they're old enough so they know, but also they're a little wild, so you get like a
Right.
a good little medium there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean the nudist. But circling back on that, the sweatshirts and everything.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to be a nudist, you need to embrace. You need to dig in,
Commit.
double down. If
Right.
like, are there nudists in Iceland?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
They probably polar bear in Iceland.
there gotta be something. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm not googling that, but that's just.
The next year, you should have just worn as many clothes as you could. Just stack jacket on jacket.
And
Well-
start throwing them to the crowd.
No one was convinced the next time to get naked.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, good.
You only had one case of beer that time.
There wasn't enough beer in that. I think we were playing inside too. It wasn't last time I was playing outside, but whatever it was like, all right, I think we've done it.
Yeah.
We've done the thing.
So I have a question. You've talked a lot about North Carolina and South Carolina, but I'd say one of your most popular, one of the songs I like the most is Alaska.
Oh yeah.
What's the story behind that?
Oh, the story. So I'm not good with stories like that, but I will say that song is a nightmare, is what that is. And the idea is the person, that's why the song kind of devolves towards the end of it and gets real crazy.
Yeah,
because the person is losing his mind, and by the end he's
Okay.
he's at some other party. He's not at that party, he's at some other party in his head, and it's just it's basically a nightmare is what that is. And Alaska, it was just so to me, Alaska, for growing up, was this sort of romantic idea of a place to go where that's your last chance to get it right, because you either get it right, if like for whatever reason you failed everywhere else, you're kicked out, whatever it is, but Alaska is sort of the final frontier, and if you make it here or you don't, and that's kind of the way I thought about it. And so that song is someone who went to Alaska and he didn't make it.
Yeah.
That's essentially.
And I want to piggyback on that. How do you? What was the story of marrying that musically? Because that one was one of the first ones. Of course, it's the second on the album, but like the first one I listened to that I had to go back and re-listen to, because the first half is kind of almost like Jack Johnson-y. It's kind of light and kind of, I was like, oh, okay, this is a nice little ride. And then these haunting vocals. I don't know who's singing on that, but it's so pretty. And then the fuzz comes in, and it's like, what was how did you come up with that idea to?
Well, I had two producers who are also producing my newest album that I'm working on.
Zach and Evan.
Yeah. You know Zach Thomas, Evan Simmons?
No, I just did my research.
Oh,
on
I
your
see.
product.
And so so the great thing about Zach, I like working with them, which is why I'm working on my new album as well, is they're a really good knack for understanding what the song, like I have trouble talking about this. What does this song mean? Like I have a real big trouble articulating that. I feel like it's there, but then again, but they seem to have a really good idea, a good way of like determining what I'm talking about without having to talk about it too much, I guess is what I'm saying. So they knew that song was this nightmare scenario. This is like this nightmare scenario is someone who goes to Alaska, someone who thinks he's gonna get by, but he's slowly losing his mind, and by the end he hasn't figured it out at all. And so that was Evan's idea, was to build it up, and at the end just drop the kitchen sink to the thing.
Yeah.
We were banging on out of tune pianos and that sort of thing. So the idea was, and they were trying to get me to even scream louder and like more off key at the end, but I couldn't quite get there. But the idea was at the end, that's why it started getting fuzzier and fuzzier and fuzzier at the end too. And I had an idea for a video where basically a guy was running through the woods, tearing his clothes off, and then he just falls off a cliff.
Well, that's a blessing to have.
Didn't happen. But.
Yeah, to have producers that
yeah.
are that invested in it, instead of just someone that's frankly going into the studio and just setting.
Absolutely. I love those guys, man. We've become really good friends since then, and I value their input.
Yeah, and
quite a bit.
I think if you were a producer, I mean, there is an advantage to working an artist's vision, but also influencing part of that vision. So I think that's really a production thing. And so Rumor of a Ghost, we can talk about some of the other songs. Sunday Afternoon, I mean, I like the rock and stuff, so that one just tears out of the gate. Was there a theme to this record? And frankly, I would like to circle back around to the Lincoln Ray. You already said it was about your grandfather, but do you think of them in themes when you're putting together a record? Is there a chronology to the songs that you like to have?
Not Lincoln Ray. No, that wasn't either. So yes and no. Not necessarily telling the story in order, but definitely dynamically I want it to like go up or down or stay static or whatever. I want it to be a ride.
Right.
So I do, design them or track list them, hopefully to be listened to front to back.
Okay.
That way. I mean, obviously no one really does that anymore, but, but that's the idea anyway, is what I'm saying. Like, but there, and some of them are kind of thematic. My newest album seems to be, but I just sort of accidentally fall into that sometimes. Don't realize until I've finished the album and I realize, oh wow, this all kind of has the same, is going to the same place. Like this all seems to have a through line that I didn't imagine when I first started writing them. But
Okay.
yeah, so
Let's take a quick break and listen to Phantom Limb.
On a dark and stormy night, I found the devil in an easy chair, alone and cold, facing into the wind. So don't be frightened by the ones that'll break your heart. After all, it's only a phantom limb. The streets are empty, but voices carry through the trees and into the night. If it were easy, everyone would be alone. The soft machine by candlelight. The soft machine by candlelight. Pictures moving, epitaphs stand accusing. Memories are a thing of the past. Standing still, you'll never make the great escape. The end of the road for those who last. And those who last will be outcast. On a dark and stormy night, I found the devil in an easy chair. Alone and cold, I grew closer to him. So don't be frightened by the ones that'll break your heart. After all, it's only a phantom limb. After all, it's only a phantom limb.
All right, tell me about what that song was about. What were you getting after on that one?
Phantom Limb.
Yeah.
So, man, one of the reasons I brought this one up before was because the video we made. Did you watch the video?
Yeah, we have.
With the puppets, the
Yeah,
marionettes.
yeah,
Yeah.
you done
marionettes.
the puppet thing to the max.
Oh man, it was super weird, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So I've been told I write a lot of songs that mention the devil, and
Okay.
I started thinking about it, and I think it's just because the devil is just such an interesting character that to me the devil is the flawed, whatever demigod.
Right.
He's an avatar for the human condition or something. He's evil. He could be sympathetic. He could be misunderstood. I mean, you can imprint all sorts of things on the idea of the devil, and so
Right.
that song was more of a sympathizing with a sad old devil,
Okay.
and I imagine the devil in a rocking chair. Well, I guess that's how it starts,
Right.
And he's just depressed And
Yeah.
someone has to put an arm around the devil and go, "It's gonna be all right, man." It's gonna
Yeah,
be
the
all right."
video's haunting. I mean, puppets are just creepy by
I
nature.
know
Yeah,
that was the
yeah.
other.
Yeah. I mean, I dig them. I like hand puppets. I kind of draw the line at marionettes.
Yeah, because they were like wood carved,
which there was
right?
that was pretty marionette-y. So
The marionettes. Oh, the whole making of that was really fun.
Yeah.
I have to say, my good friend Shelley McGee, she came up with the idea and directed that video. But our friends at the Columbia Marionette Theater, John Scollin and his wife, they run the Marionette Theater, and we've known them, or I've known them for a long time.
Yeah.
In the music, do you know those guys? Anyway, we went to them. We're like, "This is our idea. Think you can make a marionette that looks like me, or has one that you can turn it?" And they were like, "Yes, we can." And they just
Yeah.
really dove into it. And so when we did the video, obviously there were marionettes, and we had a good friend of ours who was doing the cinematography, or the videographer, what you call it, but
Right.
he was able to rotoscope all the lines out, which is why it looks like he's just walking.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
as you know,
fantastic.
but it's fun to like watch it all happen and just watch them walk around and the whole ghost. Like I have a bunch of behind the scenes videos of how we did the ghost. It's pretty fun. It was,
cool.
it was
Yeah.
super weird. We went to a cemetery, kind of guerrilla style, and just started doing it and looked around and see, no one told us to get out. So, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It's the way to do it, guerrilla.
Yeah.
I like the guerrilla filmmaking style, or just anything like that. I mean, you can sometimes, I think, see that in the spirit of the video or the spirit of the movie or whatever. Because it's almost like you watch that and it seems like their head is, or the people in it are looking out of the side of their eyes the entire time to see if somebody's coming up the driveway.
Terminator
Yeah.
1, I mean, that's
Yeah.
it. It's like, we got to get it this shot, so if you want to get energy in after, it'd be like, this is the only take you're getting. You
Right.
know? Yeah.
Right. So the new record, do you have a working title for it?
Yeah, same devil, new skin.
Okay.
Oh wow.
You and your devils.
I
man.
know.
Look, you have something that's not requited. We need to. The next episode, we're going to have a therapist on. So, you boys want to wrap up with anything?
Yeah, actually, Jonathan, you want to go first?
You go ahead, sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm going to kind of put you on blast here.
Oh,
You've been up and down both South and North Carolina. I have one question for you.
all right.
How do you eat or what's your favorite type of barbecue sauce?
Oh my god. I love mustard based.
Yeah?
So that's what I
Okay.
like. Yeah.
Okay, so now you're going to get just a bunch of hate mail.
Yeah.
So, my question was, Evan Simmons and Zach Thomas, like I've noticed in Room Over Ghost, there's a lot more like variety of instruments than some of the earlier work. Is that something that's them, or how have they influenced or changed your sound?
Yeah, and I would say it's largely them who brought that in, because it was just me this time. This is the first time I came in without a band, without anything. It was just I had songs, I had ideas.
So you're playing everything on the...
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
But Evan and Zach and I, between all of us, we knew people who would come in and play those things. And so for that album, that album is recorded way different than even this one, because that one I started recording right before COVID hit.
Oof.
And so as soon as COVID hit, everything was done, right? I had part of a tour even booked at that point. I was playing a lot more. And so now I had all the time in the world, so we went back and just sort of redid everything. And I wasn't sure I was going to make an album at first. I was just going to make some singles, and because I wasn't sure if anybody even listened to albums anymore at that time.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, COVID hit, and we had all the time in the world to do whatever we wanted. So we just spent like the year breaking it down, building it back up, breaking it down, putting weird, stuff in it, having ideas and throwing stuff against the wall. But on this new album, we went in with more of a plan. In other words, we had some more pre-production meetings, and we kind of went through all the songs that I had already demoed, and we decided what direction we wanted to go in, what kind of instruments we wanted to use, and what kind of sounds we were looking for.
Okay.
And then we spent a lot of time finding the sounds and getting ideas. And of course, between Evan, Zach, and myself, we know a bunch of musicians to come in, and Evan especially. Evan's man, he's a genius, man. He's a genius of a ranger, but he comes up with great ideas. I guess is what I'm saying. He's one of those guys. He can play a lot of stuff too, but he just has lots of great ideas. What kind of awesome, weird ideas. We kind of, I guess we're kind of on the same level as far as the weird types of sounds we're always thinking about.
Well, I mean, you grew up on, Velvet Underground and, a lot of that weird...
Yeah, exactly.
Play around in the studio, see what sticks. Yeah,
yeah, and so, but also, kind of to answer your question a little bit, being in a studio with just us, without a band, is kind of what led to the whole change in the sound, because then I had opportunity to do whatever. I wasn't limited to just...
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I love being in a band, but if I didn't have a band, then okay, my wildest dreams, what do I want to hear now? And then try and figure out how to make that happen.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the pre-production meetings, stuff like that. I guess there would be some people that would say, dude, that's not organic, man. We just go in there and let it happen. I'm like, well, I mean, it's kind of everything in the whole world really needs to be planned,
Well, you
unless
can
you're
also
playing pinball or something.
You can also sort of marry the two. Like we had very solid ideas, stuff we wanted to do, but when we got in the studio, when people came in, we would kind of do all sorts. We do what we thought initially, then we come up with other. Now try this. In fact, and sometimes someone will come in the studio. This one guy come in the studio. He was a friend of Evan's, I think, and it turns out he's like a world-class whistler. So Evan was like, "You want to put some whistle tracks?"
Yeah,
like, sure. And stuff like that. And somebody else came in, and turns out, but other than this, I think Mark Rapp, he played a lot of the horns, not the saxophone, but just the trumpet. But he also brought these other instruments that I think he made himself. And he's like, "What do you think about this sound?" And I didn't know what that was. But he brought it, and it sounded interesting and crazy. We're like, well, let's put that on the record. So there is some moments of being, creative in the studio,
Right.
Organic. That's what I'm saying. You can kind of marry the two. But you're right, though. Especially when you're talking about making a record, money, time is money.
Yeah.
You got to go in and kind of have some kind of plan at the very least. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, to the max. So when is your new record coming out?
Not totally sure yet. It has been. It's fully tracked. It's being mixed right now. I'm thinking probably at this point, because I'm trying to redo my website, my new logo and everything. So that's going to take a little time, but I'm probably in August.
Okay, so where are you recording?
The Jam Room in Columbia.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
Yeah. I love the Jam Room.
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if you recorded anywhere else.
Yeah.
So with Jay Matheson. Social media, donmerckle.com.
donmerckle.com. On all the social media, it's just Don Merckle.
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook,
Okay.
all the stuff.
I did see your website has all those links. It also has links to all your albums going back to the, I guess, the Blacksmiths days. And so everybody go out and check that out. Devin's going to wrap it up with a final question that we like to ask.
Yeah, Don, so Shrimp City Report, our final question to all of our guests is, what's your favorite way to eat shrimp?
And you can go first, and we'll all go.
Favorite way to eat shrimp?
Yeah. Or your favorite dish.
Well, I'll tell you a story about shrimp, which will, it drives my girlfriend crazy. If I'm going to eat shrimp, I like it just peeled with cocktail sauce, really. It's pretty simple. However, I grew to, when we were out, whatever, being so because the thing about, I like crab, but I hate eating crab because it's a lot of work to eat crab.
Yeah,
same
especially
thing
blue
with
crab.
crayfish. And so with shrimp, sometimes I won't take the skin off of it. I'll just eat it tail and all.
Oh, wow.
They cut your mouth?
That I did not expect.
No.
I was going to make a joke about that. That was going to be my joke today.
I have a real habit of doing that. and my girlfriend just stares at me every time I guess it's laziness. I mean, it's kind of annoying. I mean, it's kind of annoying, all that work, and you get. When it comes to eating, I hate to have to work hard to eat the food that's on my plate.
I hear that. Yeah, and I love eating volumes of food. You've kind of enlightened me.
Now you're making me think that you're going to just take a bite out of an orange, or it's just you eat the whole boiled peanut.
Well, don't take them to an oyster roast.
Okay, I will chew on a boiled peanut. If it's soft, you can chew on it. I will do that.
So, well, top that, Jonathan. What's your way to eat shrimp of the week?
Well, apparently the next way I'm going to eat my shrimp is traumatized. So that's it for me.
I mean, we're talking all about the South. Low country boils, hard to beat.
Oh, yeah, it is hard to beat.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I've been thinking. So, shrimp toast.
Yeah.
And not even at the finest Asian place.
You're talking about like fast food Chinese
a
restaurant.
little bit of shrimp on a humongous fried, basically French toast.
Shrimp in quotation marks, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's death, man. It's so decadent. So, well, anyway, Don, we appreciate you coming by.
Thanks for having me.